Hello and welcome to the Anoka County Eagle. I'm your host, Ted Butler. Beginning with this inaugural broadcast, we at the Anoka County Eagle will strive to provide you with a balanced perspective and in-depth insight into community news and political events across the North Metro and beyond. The 2009 legislative session recently wrapped up with a flurry of activity, and today we're going to delve into how that activity affects our local schools. We're joined now by Ralph Brauer, a member of the Anoka-Hennepin Parent Legislative Team, to discuss what happened at the Capitol. Ralph, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, many of our viewers may not be aware of what the Anoka-Hennepin Parent Legislative Team is or does. They may have never heard of it, in fact. Could you provide us with some background on the history of the PLT and what it does?
Well, actually, your guest that will be following me, Denise Dietrich, can probably do that better than I can. She was one of the people that was involved in founding it. It's actually been around for a couple of decades, started in the 1980s. And basically, we're a group of parents. All of us have kids in the Anoka, students in the Anoka district, or have had students in the Anoka district. My son graduated from Anoka High School about 8 years ago. And we are not in any way tied to directly the school board or the school district. So when we decide on policy or initiatives or whatever, there are our decisions. We decide what to do and what we want to do.
So this isn't officially a school district organization, but more of a grassroots organization? Is that
Well, I'd say it's a little
accurate?
of both. I mean, it's tied to the school district in the sense that we work with them, obviously, quite a lot. But it is grassroots, and we'd like it actually to be even more grassroots. It comes from the bottom up. It's the parents that drive it.
Now, you mentioned that all of you on the PLT are either current or former parents of Anoka-Hennepin students. So can any parent of an Anoka-Hennepin student who's interested in getting involved be involved with the PLT?
Yes, we'd love to have any parent who's watching the show, call our office. We're actually run out of community education, but get involved. It's something that has a big impact on what happens in the district, and it's probably the only opportunity as a parent you have to get involved in district policy.
All right. Now, what does the parent legislative team bring to the conversation at the Capitol that otherwise wouldn't be there? And in other words, why is the PLT important?
Oh, well, I could tell a story about this year. Is probably the best way to do that. Each year, let me back up a little bit and say each year what we do is in the fall, the team gets together and sets a series of priorities, usually 2, 3, or 4, and those then become the priorities for our work with the legislature during the year. And then we will work with legislators like Denise Dietrich and Jim Abler and so on to hopefully make those goals possible. This year in particular, as you know, was a pretty difficult session, and our goal this year was just basically to hold education harmless, not to have any budget cuts or anything. But about, I would say a little way into the session, we became aware of a provision in one of the education bills that provided for computer-based testing. And that had actually been one of our priorities the year before, in that it was an unfunded mandate. The district was going to be asked to give computer-based tests, but at the same time, there was no money given to us to do it. And our technology coordinator, Patrick Plant, estimated it probably would cost our district at that time, just for one test, $3 million.
And that's for the additional hardware that would be required to have all the students
mostly
within the
hardware,
district
but also support. Somebody's got to be there, obviously, to watch, over the test. There's time out of the classroom that has to be provided for. Teachers are inconvenienced by it, and so on and so forth. And even what Patrick was talking about is just to have the lab space, the place for the students to take the test, at that time would have been a major problem for the district.
Thank you. Now, is this a unique phenomenon that other people in other school districts don't currently have working for them? In other words, is this a parent legislative team really unique to Anoka-Hennepin, or are there other districts out there that have the same kind of organization?
We're probably one of the oldest. Two of the ways that we're unique is some of the other PLTs are actually creatures of their school board. So the members are appointed by the school board, and any decisions they make, anything they do has to be cleared with the school board ahead of time. We're different in that we can do our own thing. The other thing is that I think I can safely say our Anoka team has gotten somewhat of a reputation, at least down at the legislature, that we're a group that can be listened to, and we bring our facts with us, and we have our ducks lined up and so on.
Okay. Can you describe the relationship between the parent legislative team and the delegation of legislators from the Anoka-Hennepin district?
I can't say enough about the legislators in our district, and I say that about the legislators of both parties. We would not honestly have gotten anywhere with this testing initiative if it had not been for three legislators in particular. One was Denise Dietrich, one was Jim Abler, and the other was Jerry Newton. And the three of them really worked with us, helped us, taught us, how to work with the legislature and how to bring that issue forward.
Okay. You mentioned one thing that the PLT accomplished for District 11 this year in terms of the unfunded mandate around computer-based testing. Are there other things, or what were the other things on your priority list, and what other pieces of policy did you work on at the Capitol this year?
Well, the testing one became our major one, mainly because of the cost of it. It was, for our district, the cost was incredible. It could have, they actually wanted, depending on which version of the bill you looked at, they wanted to add anywhere from 2 to 5 tests. And Patrick's estimate of $3 million per test then would have been somewhere between 10 and 15 million for that initiative would have cost our district. So that money would have had to come out of somebody's pocket.
Well, and in already tight budget times, we're really talking then about cutting deeper into teachers and increasing class sizes probably. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. We actually, one of the things with Denise's help that we actually did was put together a chart that looked at what the impact of that would be in terms of teachers, potential teacher cuts, potential class size increases, and so on and so forth. Now, all these were scenarios. They weren't something that was going to happen. That's all obviously for the school board to decide. But we could say that potentially we might lose as many as say 100 or 200 teachers, or class size might increase by
Sure.
2 or 3 kids.
All right. Well, Mr. Brauer, thank you for joining us on the Anoka County Eagle. In a few moments, we're going to get another perspective on education funding and policy from State Representative Denise Dietrich. Please stay with us.
Thank you. That way.